Gama. The Kusari Gama is a chained weapon. I don't have an actual chained weapon. I have a bunch of these that I've made. You basically buy a wooden kama, drill a hole through it, attach a rope, poke a hole through a tennis ball, jam some knots through it, hit it with some glue, wrap it up with some duct tape. Boom, you've got a Kusari Gama. Is this a strictly ninja weapon? No, many samurai schools use this weapon as well. The Kusari Gama was used against multiple attackers. If you were trying to keep people away from you, if you were trying to knock people off of horses, one person could fight 10 people with this weapon. So it was a very powerful weapon to be used. You can disarm swords, and again, you can fight multiple attackers with the Kusari Gama. The main attacker would be someone with a spear, someone with a naginata, or someone with a sword. It was very rare that you would see Kusari Gama versus Kusari Gama, or Kusari Gama versus someone that was unarmed. This was to disarm weapons and to fight multiple attackers with weapons. Just want to talk about one other thing. Again, this being the Kusari Gama, there is another weapon. This is called a Koketsu Shoge, and the main difference between the Kusari Gama and the Koketsu Shoge is that the weapon itself, the hand part of the weapon is the tip of like a yari, and then it has a hook on it. This hook can be used to catch into armor. This hook can be used to put on the branches of trees, and then this was actually to stab. So you were going to hook with this end here, and you were going to stab like a tanto or a yari with this end. Where the Kusari Gama, you were striking with the wooden end of it, or you were cutting. It was a kama to use to cut rice. So this is very specific. Now the Koketsu Shoge, I believe, is very specific to the ninja friends. I don't know much about the Koketsu Shoge being used by the samurai. On the end of a Kusari Gama, you're going to have a lead weight. On the end of the Koketsu Shoge, traditionally you would have a ring. A lot of things that I've been told about the ring was one end of this could be put inside, hooked onto a tree, and then this could be passed through, and you could hang things to the bottom of this, and you could pull them across the rope like a pulley system. Gave you ways to be able to use this as a tool to string up between trees, to rig traps, to be able to use as a tool. So it was a fighting weapon for sure, but also could be used very much as a tool. But I did want to mention this weapon because it is in the same category. Again, this would be a chain, not a rope, and this one actually is a metal one here. But in all the years I've been training, all I've seen was people do stuff with it. Say, hey, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. Never names, never a system, never nothing complete. I have been taught from a system called Arakiru, and a system from Todoru, and a system called Yanagiru. So I have 3 systems that I've been taught. I don't think I have any one of them complete, but I've got a lot. I've also seen all of the grandmasters play around with this. So I've seen all of the grandmasters use this tool, so I can see the capabilities of the weapon. I've also seen Charles Daniels teach a 3-day seminar, Friday to Sunday seminar, and we covered tons of aspects on it. And again, he was showing things that he's seen and things that he's developed. Some of that material is in my curriculum. So I've seen a lot of amazing things done with this, and I've asked people, hey, where did you learn that? And the 99% of them is years of practice. Who taught it to you? Well, I've seen basics and I put it together, and I've been practicing, developing, and this is the end result after 10, 15, 20 years of training. So I've done the same thing. Okay, on the Kusari Gama, let's talk about how to carry it. So normally you have a wooden handle, you'd have a metal blade, metal kama here again, using to cut rice. This would be a chain, and at the very end of your chain, this would be a lead weight. But it's kind of cumbersome to carry like this. So the way you can carry it or to store it is so. Take the chain of the rope, come over top the kama, come down to the handle, and just kind of catch it. Do that twice. Just kind of catch it. Now turn this end towards you and make a loop tight and then go over top itself. And then start to work yourself up the handle. Okay? And then when you get around a little bit where you got some slack in it, you're just simply going to make a loop, bend it across, put the lead weight right there, and then tie it down. So the lead weight is attached to the sickle. And then this unwraps. And then once you get it here to unwrap, all you got to do is pull the chain over top the blade, and you're really right there to go as far as how to be able to hold it. Right? So I used 18 foot. That gave me the ability to throw this thing a long way. The problem was once I threw it out there, it took forever to pull the rope back to me. And when you're fighting multiple attackers, and we would do this all the time with like padded weapons, and I'd have these with tennis balls on them and a pad here, and we would fight, you know, have 10, 15, 20 people attacking me with this. And if I throw it out and somebody stepped on it or knocked it off to the side, and while I'm pulling it back, I'm trying to get the chain and people are attacking me from different angles, and it just got really, really dangerous. So doing that type of field work and doing that type of research made me realize that I really don't want to have this thing no more than maybe 9 feet, if that. So when I throw it out, when I pull one loop, my next loop, I'm spinning again. So if I was to throw it out within one loop, I've got this back to be able to spin. So also if I throw and I hit, I can pull this back so you can learn. And I'm going to get into a little bit of this later, but by being able to throw and then you pull this back, so I can hit something and keep control of it. So I don't have to let it go out and hit the ground where it can be stuck into the mud, which I've had happen, get tied up on roots and trees, or get stuck in 2 rocks or whatever, and have it stuck. So that's a skill all by itself. But when you make it, just set it out to where you can toss it out and it's fully away from you, and then have it where you take your left hand and put your left hand away from you and your right hand behind you until this is arm straight. Bring this up, catch it with your pinky, and then from there, that weight is barely hanging on the ground. That would give me the perfect ability to throw this weapon, right? So that's my recommendation. Let's talk about the kamais. So again, the way to hold it, 1 loop or 2 loops, kamai in your left hand, the blade facing straight towards your opponent. The first kamai is called Daijō no kamai. I'm going to take this, bring it above my head, and this out hanging. Here. Daijō no kamai. The next kamai is Jōdo no kamai. Jōdo no kamai. And as always, it just moves right down the chain. Next, Chudo no kamai. Next, Geira no kamai. Next, it's Waki no kamai. Next is Chinru no Kamai. Chinru no Kamai is taking the weight in your hand, bringing it on the outside of your right arm, and stepping back, having this in Jodan, Chudan, or Gedan, with this position here. And as you can imagine, you're going to be able to stop here with a hit and then throw the lead weight. Like you would just come here, there's your Kamai. So you can block, throw this down into the hands or into the face. Chinru no Kamai. The next section is called Chiburi. Chiburi is removing the blood from the blade, very much like a sword. A sword you would cut, you would throw down, and then you learn to use to wipe the blade away, or you'd have a small cloth, a white cloth, to take the blood off the blade, and that's used once and you throw it down. Same exact thing here. If I'm in a situation to where I'm using this weapon and I'm attacked, I can block, boom, I hit, and then he comes to me again and I take my opponent down, or maybe I finish him. Once I'm done, cloth here, remove the blood, throw it away. So that is the Chiburi, removing the blood from the blade. The next section is how to wear the Kusari Gama. So if it's wrapped up, then you've got it ready to carry. What you can do is you can wear it. If I have a sword, I'm going to wear it on my right hip, always with the blade facing backwards and down, like that. I don't want to be able to have it cut my arm. Always with the blade facing backwards and down. Again, if I'm wearing a sword. If I'm not wearing a sword, and this is my primary weapon, and again, I'm going to wear it in my belt, here, with the blade facing down, so I can fight and move. I can also wear it in the center of my back, here, so I can pull it out. So that's if it's wrapped up, wear it in your belt, pretty much like a sword. Difference is you want to be able to have it to where the blade is always facing backwards and down, backwards and down. And there is ways from here to, if I throw Metsubush here, I can actually unravel it while I do this here, right? If I have it out and I want to carry it, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little bit smaller loops on this side here. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in my belt with the chains first. Then the sickle. So the chains are in and the sickle. Bring this here, come up over the belt and hang it down, all right? So that's kind of how I would have it if I was going to be wearing it and I was thinking about possibly in combat, but I needed to be ready. I'd have it in this position here. Then I can simply just grab the kamai, push the lead weight through, bring the kamai up, and I'm ready to go and use the weapon. The next section is called kiting gata. Kiting gata. So the first thing you want to be able to do is learn how to spin the weight. So there's basically 5 ways to spin the weight, right? So you have something called waki furi, which is basically from any kamai, taking the weight, pinching it, and being able to spin the weight forward. And you're not making circles with your arm. You're just kind of just small little loops with your fingers. And you've got a good grip between your index finger and your thumb. And with a rope and with a chain, if you went outside and practiced this for like a weekend seminar, the majority of you would tear the skin away on your hand. So if you've got tender hands and it starts to wear up real fast, just tape it or put band-aids over top the pinch point. But you're going to feel that friction rub your skin away, right? But you're basically learning how to take the weapon and roll it forward. Waki fori. And again, I can be in any kama here. Now, one of the things I want you to focus on is that the majority of people that do this, I'll see them facing forward, but I'll see this, right? Where it's facing this. You've got to learn to get that weight coming right at your opponent forward. So when I throw it, I want to make sure that it's dead line in my center. So check and make sure it's not spinning this way or it's not spinning that way. Make sure that's spinning straight in front and work at that. Look in the mirror, have friends help you. So waki fori, right? Next is called waki barai. Same thing, but instead of the weight spinning forward, the weight is going to be spinning backwards. Next, number 3, ha chiji fori. Ha chiji fori. This is basically making an X, and I want the weight to be spinning forward. So think of fori starting with an F, forward. Barai starting with a B, backwards. So ha chiji fori is learning how to one of the things I want you to focus on is keeping your head and shoulders still. Your habit is going to want to do something like this. Get that out of there and keep yourself. Just bring your hand so the weight misses your body. Keep it centered here. This is what you want Hachiji Furi to look like. Hachiji Barai is going to be the same thing, but we're going to go backwards. So you've got to learn how to make the X, but now the weight is coming backwards. So it's the same thing as we did before. This is coming forward, the X. See the way it's coming forward, forward, right? It's coming forward, forward, right? So this is forward. Next is we want to go, Barai is going to be backwards. So you see it's coming backwards here. The next one is Tenchi Mawashi. Tenchi Mawashi. Basically what you want to do here is spin the weight above the head. The next section is called Mawashi Gata. Mawashi Gata. And the very first thing we want to be able to do is learn how to move. So far everything we've done has been stationary. So the first exercise is from any kamai using the waki furi with the weight coming forward, being able to move forward with your body and backwards. So if someone retreats, you come in me. I can keep this moving as I move around. Just learning how to move. Keep this moving here. Next, it's called Zengo Furi Muku. Zengo Furi Muku. What this is being able to do is I'm spinning with Waki Furi going forward. I'm attacked from behind. I need to change directions. And I'm also going to change the direction that the weight is spinning. I'll try to do this slow. Basically what you want to do is as it's coming down, you're going to time it as it's coming down. And then you're going to stick your arm out so the weight goes underneath your armpit. Right? So try to do it slow. And then what happens when it goes underneath my armpit, I'm going to turn 180, all right? So it's going to go underneath and I turn, and now you see it's spinning barai. It's coming up, it's going backwards, right? It's going backwards. Waki Furi going forward. When it goes up on the downward motion, under the armpit, turn, and now it's going in the other direction, right? One more time. Forward, under, turn. Okay? Forward, under, turn. And then now it's going this direction here. Okay? So you got to learn how to do that. Next is Hantai Mawashi Furi. So we've learned how to go from Waki Furi to Waki Barai by changing underneath the arm, turning around, and now it's spinning this way. So it's coming on Barai now, so it's spinning up. What we're going to do now is we're going to learn to turn and change directions again. So as it's coming up, what I'm going to do is bring it over top my shoulder and my arm. It comes here. Before it can swing up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn quickly by pivoting on my left leg and then throwing it off my shoulder forward. So here we go under the arm. Here we go over the arm. Under, over. Under, over, under, over. So you can learn how to change directions quickly, right? So if I'm here, it's going to come over, turn, and then pull. Under, right? Over, turn, and pull. Under. This is the hard one. Over, turn, and pull. Under, right? Over, turn, and pull. Under. Under is the easy one. This is the hard one. Over, turn, and pull. One more time. Over, turn, and pull. Maybe you can see this way here, right? So, The next section is uke kata, learning how to block with the kusari. So there's 4 basic ways to block. We're going to block something in the jodan area, chudan area, geidan area, and then something that's coming down from above, which is a tento. And jodan uke, chudan uke, geidan uke, tento uke. So you have to be able to do these in any kamae. So the easiest kamae to demonstrate from is starting from jodan no kamae. So if I'm in jodan no kamae here and I'm attacked, maybe someone's coming in yokomen to the side of my neck. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step out like the sword, and I'm going to turn and I'm going to block with the back end of the kamae. Right? So this is one solid blade that's detached. So I'm going to hit that quickly here. Right? Once I hit that, there's going to be other things we're going to be able to do to come into the hands. But we're just talking about the uke kata, no katas, just blocking. So if it comes from the left side, right foot moves, block with the back. Same thing here, turn and block. So I'm actually just hitting this, just kind of deflecting it away. Remember, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. Our bodies already know how to block with a blade. We've been taught how to block with a sword. We're going to use those same fundamental principles that our body knows inside and out, and just apply this with a different extension. Rather than being the extension of the katana, it's going to be the extension of the Kusari Gama. So we're just going to move and block. A lot of times, I have a weight in my hand. So if I'm here and he attacks, a lot of times I can block, and then that's going to strike into the wrist. So you can practice that where you're just knee. So you're just blocking the blade and then hitting the hand. Right? Same thing here. He attacks, blocking the blade, boom, hitting the hand. Block, hit. Block, hit. So that's jodan. Chudan's no different. Something comes into the middle here, you're gonna have to get a little lower and strike. So here, make sure this angle doesn't come back, hit you in your shin. With a lead weight, it'll break that bone. So get out there and use it. Again, a wooden kamae from any Asian world or martial, whoever, piece of rope from Home Depot, and a tennis ball. If you go to a tennis court and go walk around it for 3 minutes, you'll probably find 5 of these things for free. Cut a hole, tie a knot, put the knot in there, take where you made the hole, super glue, crazy glue, everything you can, get it shut full, and then wrap it with some type of tape to hold it in there, right? And even these, if you bang somebody in the head, they still hurt, but it's a lot better than a lead weight, right? So, chudan no kamae. In kamae, attack comes in, step, turn, use this here, move this back leg out. Right? Kamae comes in low here, hit, you notice I'm hitting down, so down, bang, right into the hands, right? Or once I hit this down, I can let this go a little bit more, and I can come into the head. You see how it's like a fly fisherman, where I'm using that. Right? You push forward, right? Geidan no kamae. Same thing, as the attack comes in, we're going to use the low end of this to block it away down low, and then strike into the hands. Attack comes in, use this low, strike into the hands. All right? Boom. You can move it out, and well, that's how I do it. You can, no, don't do it like that. Just like geidan, you can keep everything the same. Just turn the blade over, and then hit. And then tento, where attack is coming down, I'm going to move left offline and bring this up. So the sword comes down, it hits the blade, comes in, maybe gets stuck into the wood. And then quickly, before anything can happen, I'm going to step on my right foot and throw the blade away, and then go ahead and hit. Right? So attack comes in, left, H, step right, throw, and then change. So. Joranuke. Hit. Shudanuke. Hit. Geiranuke. Hit. Tento. Ta. That is the uke kata, the way to block. So I'm not sure how you can see this, but just as kuden, it is in the manual later. But I want to touch on to get you guys started working on it. If you could have one person grab the ball and have it here, and the other person have the kama in their hand and get into position. I'm going to teach you how to throw a loop to catch the wrist. You're going to have to bring your palm up, back, and then throw your thumb and flick so the loop goes away from you. What you want this to do is, when the loop is flying through the air, you want to learn how to turn it over. So it's actually rolling like this, right? So I'm sorry, it's going to go against itself, yeah. And it's going to roll like this. And then what it's going to do is it's going to fall over and catch into the hand. It's a little bit difficult at first, but if you make a little bit of slack and then a big circle with the arm and learn how to flick that wrist so it goes over top of the arm, right? So I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but I'm looping it right over top of the camera every time, right? Just learn how to catch. Yeah, learn how to catch. Sometimes you can do it just by holding the kama, where the chain doesn't have to be in your hand. You learn how to make the loop with the end of the kama, which is a little bit more difficult, but can be done. And this is a little tricky setup on the camera here, but you see I'm getting the loop over top itself there. Maybe I can slow this down so you can see it coming in.
Why?お願いします。お願いします。お願いします。 Three, two.